Hello folks, Alex here. This is Alex Unabridged, and today I've got episode 3 of Adventures in Genre, and March was for mystery. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, time for episode 3 of Adventures in Genre. And so yes, Mystery Month. I only managed to get through a couple this month thanks to a bit of illness. But what I did read, I enjoyed. Neither were duffers. As with all my wrap-ups, I try not to give spoilers, certainly not ends of books and things like that. But, some stuff that I say could be considered mild spoilers. I'm going to be extra careful today because mysteries, by their very nature, there's a lot to spoil in a mystery. And so I don't want to give away too much, particularly about one of them. But if I do say something that could be considered a bit of a spoiler, I will give you a warning beforehand in terms of plot and things like that. So let's crack on with the first, which was The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. How could I do Mystery Month and not do some Agatha Christie, really? I'd never read any Agatha Christie before. I'd seen a lot of adaptations. I've seen, several adaptations of Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express and various other bits and pieces as well. But as I say, I'd never read any Agatha Christie. So I picked The Body in the Library mainly because I knew nothing about it and just kind of liked the sound of the premise. It was an audiobook that was narrated by Stephanie Cole, and she was very good, very, very good. She was the perfect person, I think, for the kind of tone of the book and the sort of setting in the kind of the sort of society that it's set in. So a brief overview of its setup. Colonel and Mrs. Bantry, Dolly Bantry, wake up one morning to find that one of their maids has discovered a body in the library, hence the title. It's a body of a young woman who's in evening dress and lots of makeup, but nobody knows who she is or how she got there, how she got into their library. So of course the police are called to investigate, and Dolly Bantry is a friend of Miss Jane Marple, and so she asks Miss Marple up to the house to start their own little investigation, and it goes from there. And so it's for me it was a 3 out of 5. It was decent. It was a good 3 out of 5 as well. It's up toward getting towards the 4, but not quite there. It was engaging. It was mysterious. It was definitely I didn't guess who did it before the end. It was amusing. It's got some sort of good fun characters in it, things like that. And overall, I very much enjoyed the experience of reading it. It was a very undemanding read. It was very easy to listen to, very easy to kind of get through. It was just a nice one for sort of nighttime, just to put my feet up on the sofa and just kind of listen. I think my main criticism with it is that it's kind of billed as a Miss Marple novel, which is, that's kind of why I picked it as well, because I've never really, I've been, kind of exposed to some Poirot stuff, but never really Miss Marple stuff. So I went, oh yes, let's try some Miss Marple stuff. And it's billed as that, and yet there's not that much Miss Marple in it. As I say, Dolly Bantry calls Jane Marple up to the house after this body is found to you know, to get her take on things, because she's known to be one who can figure stuff out. But then, you know, she kind of disappears for a lot of the novel, and we follow the police investigation really more than anything else, and that's fine. The police characters are good. They're likable. They're as I say, they're amusing. But it's just not what I kind of expected in that respect. And yeah, Miss Marple comes back in to it much later in the book, because basically the police are, you know, they're doing this investigation, but they're kind of a bit clueless. They can't kind of find motive and can't figure out who done it. And so eventually they go back and talk to Miss Marple themselves. And it is a little bit like they just kind of bring her in because they can't figure it out. And, you know, it's all of a sudden like, you know, Miss Marple's there going, oh yeah, I know who's done it. I've known all along. But we've never, as readers, we've never kind of really seen much of her like thought process and, you know, kind of there's been her investigations. We get little bits, but nowhere near as much as we get on the police side of things. And so yeah, so that was a bit disappointing. I kind of wanted a bit more of Miss Marple. I wanted, you know, kind of amateur sleuthy type stuff, and yet it wasn't. It wasn't that. As I say, it wasn't bad for it. It's just I went in thinking I was going to get something else. So that's what puts it in the 3 really for me. Is it's a Miss Marple novel with very little Miss Marple. But yes, so that was the first one. The second one that I read, completely different, which was The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I am not going to say much about the plot of this, the premise of this at all, because this is one I think benefits greatly from going in as blind as possible. I will say a little bit, so if you want to know nothing, then you know, click away now, basically. So yeah, basically this is a mind-bendy one. This is definitely it's a murder mystery without an actual murder, and it's kind of Groundhog Day, where our main character has to repeat the same day 8 times to try and stop a murder from happening. So there's a little bit of kind of magical elements in it and sort of fantastical elements in it. It's as I say, it's quite mind-bendy. But yeah, I mean, conceptually speaking, I love it. I think it's a great idea. The writing style itself wasn't something that I necessarily got on with the greatest. I found it a little bit slow, certainly in the beginning, but the plot and the characters and the puzzle element of this is like, that's what kept me going with it, most definitely. Yeah, it's got like a huge scope to it. It's very rich in its kind of detail and its sort of puzzle elements. It's very inventive. It's a really inventive book, and yeah, it makes you question everything. Question what you know about the characters. You know, question what's happened, what will happen. It's unveils kind of secrets and stuff slowly, but like the more it unveils, the more questions you have, the more lies are kind of told. You know, nobody in it is reliable, in terms of, you know, none of the characters that we see perspectives from are reliable. Everything is questionable. And so yeah, it definitely keeps you guessing of what's going on. And I would say that, I mean, I had this on audiobook, and this is a point worth noting, I think, is I've struggled with it on audiobook because of the amount of detail and like hints and things like that. Made me want to kind of be able to go back and check what had come before. Now, fortunately, I had also had a hard copy of it on the bookshelf, so I was able to get that out and read along with the audiobook, and then just like stop the audiobook and flip back in the hard copy and check things. But yeah, I think that it probably benefits from that, because as I say, it's very, very twisty turny. But yeah, as I say, other than the writing style taking a while for me to get into, and for it not necessarily being, you know, my thing, the plot, the characters, the concept, all of that kind of stuff, I thought was really interesting, really interesting. So yes, I will leave that one there and leave it a bit of a puzzle. But yes, that is what I got through in March. I don't know how much mystery I will read, like straight, you know, pure mystery, murder mystery type stuff I will read in the future. I do like it on occasion, I think. I will come back to it. But I think, you know, for me, I do like mystery, but interwoven with other stuff. I think that's why I liked the Stuart Turton, the Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle more, because it's got other elements to it. I like mystery in my science fiction. I like elements of mystery in my horror, stuff like that. So I think straight murder mysteries aren't necessarily ever going to be a favourite of mine. But yeah, mystery elements within other genre fusions, I will definitely look into more of that. So yes, that is March's adventures in genre. So what have I coming up in April? April is autobiography and memoir. Mostly memoir it will be. When I was looking for stuff on Audible and Kindle and things like that, they kind of lump in autobiography and memoir together, and it's sometimes difficult to tell exactly which one of those classifications any kind of book is. So I've picked books that I like, and it's all going under the banner of autobiographical writings. So yes, so I've got 3 on the list. I won't get through all of them, I doubt. I doubt that very much, because my April TBR for other stuff is huge. But I have got, first up, The Sound of Laughter by Peter Kay. That will be an audiobook read by Peter Kay. Peter Kay is a comedian based in the same sort of region that I'm in, the northwest of England. And his sense of humour is very much of this region as well. Certainly very northern, but very, very northwest as well. And I find him hilarious. So I very much look forward to listening to that and hearing him read it. That will be should be a good laugh, that one. The second one, something completely different, is The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, which I've had on my wish list for a while. And this is the perfect time to read that. That will be a Kindle edition. And the third one, which I doubt I'll get to, but I might, you never know. But if not, I will save it for June, when I'm reading a load of LGBT stuff, because it fits into that. And that is Caught in the Act by Shane Jennick, aka Courtney Act, who is an Aussie drag queen. And so this is Shane/Courtney's memoir. So yes, so those are the 3 I would like to get through. There are some other memoirs on my TBR for April, thanks to Transgirl April reading event. So I will link to my TBR for April, so you can have a look at those if you haven't seen them already. So yes, that I think is it from me today. If you've read either of the books I've talked about today and have, you know, any opinions, thoughts, etc. on them, do drop them in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving us a like and subscribing for more content coming soon. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.